wrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
To the BritWres Roundtable. I'm Arnold Furious. Hello. With me is Oli Course. Hello.
Hello, Arn. I think we should start off by letting you take the floor and sip your champagne.
Well, yeah, because if you missed the results that came in just yesterday, I have once again won the Euro draft. Very tough competition with Lee Malone. He pushed me really hard at the end there. I actually voted for Lee, so I only really have myself to blame. But yeah, as soon as we'd finished recording on that Euro draft episode, I was like, well, I've clearly won. I just didn't see it going any other way. But like,
well, it almost went to Lee.
We had to take it to a vote
in the end, but
yeah, well, technically two because I voted for him and he voted for himself, so like, three really. Oh, it's a landslide.
Okay, yeah. the general public has overwhelmingly voted for you, Arn, and you are a two-time champion.
Two-time, back-to-back, first ever two-time champ.
With your smarky indie picks.
I just picked good
I'm
wrestlers.
sounding like Callum last year.
That's all I did. I picked good wrestlers, and
yeah.
This is the first time I've actually been happy with the roster that I had when we finished recording, because like the first year I kind of got lost in the second half and it just went to pieces, and even last year like I ended up with a couple of people that I didn't particularly want, and I just ended up with them because I hadn't planned properly. Mm-hmm. So like this year I was literally like, as I was going through, I was like, right, I have that match, and like everything just kind of clicked into place. And as I said, like in a little group chat that we had going, the only thing that I really felt I did wrong was the last round where I really didn't have anything planned. So I ended up with Young Money Chung, and then thought afterwards that there's a young Irish wrestler called Clayton Long. Sorry, people, we will get round to the podcast at some point. But yeah, there's a young Irish wrestler called Clayton Long who would have been like an ideal opponent for Dean Allmark. And I kind of wanted to go back and like change that pick, but apart from that, I was happy with everything. So I'm glad the viewers have seen me as the superior fantasy draft guy.
Well, this means that for the next year, your opinion is better than all of ours. Mine and Rob's and anyone. Well, Rob didn't even take part, so I don't know.
Yeah, Rob doesn't even have an opinion. Like,
and unfortunately, Rob can't be with us because his throat is sore, or wrecked, or whatever the word.
He said he had like a voice problems when he woke up this morning. Yeah.
So fair enough, not joining a voice-based activity.
Yeah, it's probably a good job we're recording today and not yesterday, because I'd been shouting at Schadenfreude and like I was very raspy. So yeah, we've had a day to recover from that.
Should we use that as a jumping off point and start the show with your thoughts on the Fight Club Pro Project Mayhem weekend? I know it's technically not what we didn't write down on the run sheet because we don't have one this week, but
I'm all for freeform chat, so let's just do that. So yeah, I only actually got to one of the two shows.
Oh, okay.
The night two on the Saturday was early. Like, you know how early the Saturday shows are sometimes? Well, this one was like really early and it finished at like 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And I was at work till 7. So, it was a bit, it was a bit ambitious, getting a ticket to that one in the first place. Basically, I didn't see what the start time was, and yeah, I fucked it up. So I didn't go to that, but I'm told it was a decent night. But I also my main reason for wanting to go to that show is they were going to do Shima and Pete Dunne, which didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't know why either. Pete Dunne wasn't on the show, so I don't know.
It's just Fight Club Pro, isn't it? Card subject to change is.
I don't know if he tweaked something and
Yeah.
they just wanted to make sure he was fit for Wembley, because otherwise, that would be bad.
It seems like they put Shima in a better match anyway, because he's probably better as a tag guy, and they put him
I
in
don't know,
with
I think it would have been
against, Walter and Davis, so that's kind of up my alley.
I think it would have been quite intriguing to see that Shima Pete
Yeah.
Dunne match, but anyway. So besides the point, going back to the night before, the one I actually did go to.
Yeah.
I think the big talking point for me is that they changed venues very late.
Mm-hmm.
So Starworks, I don't know what's going on with Starworks, but they had a fire there 2 months ago. I'm not going to say insurance job, cough, but it's a bit suspicious that they've been broken into as well. Who would break into... Have you been to Starworks? It's a box.
Yeah, who would break into a basically empty warehouse and steal the burger buns?
I don't really get that. But so they've moved to another less shady venue, which is called the Hangar, which is also just a great big box warehouse venue, but it doesn't have that needless amount of space that Starworks has got. Starworks is, you have to walk for 20 minutes to get to the toilet. That's an exaggeration, but what I'm saying is it's a long way away from where the...
Yeah, if you're standing around the other side, there's no hope for you.
Whereas this is a much smaller venue, so it's halfway between Starworks and Fiction. It's a middle ground, if you know what I mean. So
the geography of Wolverhampton.
Yes.
I know Wolverhampton only through Fight Club Pro venues.
Yeah, this is more for size than actual. It's a little bit past where Starworks is. But anyway, getting off track again. So I really enjoyed the building. I thought it was an improvement, honestly, on Starworks. They did an awful lot of work in there very, very quickly to get it ready, because they only had about 3 days' notice that they couldn't use Starworks. So they did a bang-up job of putting that show on. They do need to install more toilets, but apparently they're going through a bit of a refit, the Hangar, so there will be more next time. Literally 2 urinals. So, yeah, you can imagine...
unhygienic BritWressery going on there.
Yeah, a little bit. But still, it was a fun show. You had T-Hawk and Shima against the Rascals, which was a lot of fun. They did one of their wacky scramble matches, and I got to see Curtis Chapman in that, so that was a good time. I like Curtis. Bandido and Flamita, great seeing that live. Millie and Ginny was on that show. That match was about to start, and I literally walked back to where I was standing, and Jordan Devlin was stood there. I probably should have smelled the run-in coming, but he was just stood there, big Irish grin on his face. I got to talk to a whole load of people. People from all over the country were there because of it being right before Progress. I think a lot of people had gone to turn it into a weekender.
Yeah, definitely.
Got to talk to a lot of the lads. Flamita, I didn't quite understand what I was saying, but he's a nice boy. Travis Banks, I saw, he said he's going to be back inside a month, so he should be wrestling again soon. And I kind of skipped over the main event. Well, there was 2 main events. There was the one that was advertised, which was the 8-man tag, the Schadenfreude versus Fight Club Pro with Meiko Satomura at the helm. That was fun enough. But then, the show's over, and we're all kind of congregating around chatting, and AFI kicks in, and it's oh, Jimmy, oh God, they haven't done it again, have they? And the whole, back wall, there was, a big door there, and they had, a big, piece of wood or curtain or something behind it, and it just lifted up, and it just said, welcome to Death House 2. on a board at the back wall, and everyone just kind of ran through and got showered in broken glass and had a very nice time.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like pretty much an exact repeat of last year, but I'm not complaining because that was a special atmosphere for that wacky match that they did.
Yeah, it was exactly the same match.
Exactly the same match.
But
everyone likes a bit of disgusting violence now and again.
Yeah. Oh, it was absolutely filthy violent. Some of the stuff they did in this, like I said, glass flying everywhere. They did a fire spot, which is kind of a way of going up on what they did last year, just to kind of try and make the sequel a bit more violent. But yeah, no, I had a really good time at the show. Got quite drunk. Had fun. Excellent.
Well, on the back of that as well, they've announced that they're running Corrigan Hall in January. So that's a bit out of the blue, but also, you know, they've been working with Satomura a lot, and they've obviously got contacts with Shima and his Strong Hearts boys, who I'm loving at the moment. They've OWE. Single-handedly got me into Wrestle 1.
I'm back on board DDT again after... basically, they put the title on Sami Callihan, so I was like, but that was only for a week, so I'll give them a pass because Strong Hearts are there as well. So
yeah, and Shima's doing a shit ton with not a lot in Strong Hearts. I mean, you look at that group and it's a group of good guys, but it's not exactly world beaters. But they've shaken things up. I'm glad that they got over so well this weekend. Like everyone was posting pics with Shima and the boys there. And yeah, I will be in Tokyo around then, so it's just a matter of twisting my girlfriend's arm to go see yet another wrestling show. Negotiations are currently underway as to how many shows I will get to go to on our holiday in Tokyo. But yeah, I mean, that's very cool news for them, and we'll see what exactly that looks like, because I can't even imagine sort of a BritWres environment in Korakuen. That just sounds crazy to me. And exactly what the crowd makeup is. You know, it's all very question mark, but Fight Club Pro is always a bit of a question mark, card subject to change, but it's usually a good time. So yeah, I mean, good job them for making it happen.
It is. It's a surprisingly large story to come out of Fight Club Pro. I think a lot of people have been sleeping on them. It's like they get big crowds, but like you don't hear people going like, so what's your promotion of the year? And Fight Club Pro pops up like it did 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. It's been very much a case of they've been drawing consistently with the live crowds, but then I would be hard pushed to mention like a match that they've had this year that I think is like a big standout. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they always have fun shows, but there's just no promotion about them. There's no like reason to get invested.
They've been doing some decent run-on storylines.
Schadenfreude now. Yeah. That's a very cool group, which makes sense. Like Chris Brooks helming something is a very good thing. And if they can really actually make the heel work stick and not just turn it into, you know, cutesy stuff, like they can tend to do, you know, that's real interesting. And also, if they're going to be working with Strong Hearts more, Strong Hearts versus Schadenfreude, maybe in Tokyo, is like a blindingly obvious match to do.
It'd be interesting to see who they actually get to take over for that card, because the potential is there, certainly.
Definitely. So hopefully I'll get to go see that. Cry my eyes out at just being in Korakuen Hall at some point that week will be good. So if I can get to FCP as well, that would be very fun. Obviously, being a BritWres guy, seeing BritWres in Japan would be a very unique experience, and I've sort of landed into that opportunity somehow. Hooray. So I think this is the first time in a while we've actually positively talked about Fight Club Pro, which is good, because they are a good promotion. Well,
Rob keeps telling us to stop talking about them because they're not a draw. So
we've started this off terribly.
Yeah, sorry, Rob.
What we should be talking about is endlessly previewing Wembley pointlessly, because everyone will have seen it by the time we've talked about.
It's actually happening now. We've screwed up so badly that we're actually recording a podcast while Progress Wembley is happening.
The biggest show in apparently European wrestling history. According to
English.
what the sign says. English wrestling history. But yeah, like, everyone else is there and we are not, and that's sort of the elephant in the room. But either we're too busy or we just don't care. But obviously we'll be talking about it soon when it goes up on the on-demand.
5 to 7 days from now.
Indeed. Shows that will go up quicker than that, though, are the WXW Big Weekend, which is actually happening next weekend. It's all kicking off in Europe right now. So I think we should talk World Tag Team League.
We certainly should. That's what Rob would have wanted us to talk about at the start of the show, for taking us 15 minutes to get there. You could put a little note attached to it and say, just kind of skip in 15 minutes if you want to go straight into the WXW stuff.
Yeah. So WXW.
Yes. The perfect lead-off topic.
So we've got Group A and Group B. We've got Ringkamp, CCK, Lucha Bros, and Hashimoto and Kamitani in Group A. JFK, Monster Consulting, Aussie Open, and Angelico and Jeff Cobb in Group B. And they're all going to face off in various combinations across the weekend, and it would be kind of fruitless to even try and preview all of that. So it's better to just take an overlook and say, who are you looking forward to most seeing and what matchups?
I'm most forward looking toward Group A entirely. Like, I don't think there's going to be a bad match in Group A. It's a quite incredible 4 teams to put together. And they're just from all over the place as well. I mean, Ringkamp and CCK have obviously faced each other before. Like, in the last month, they've actually wrestled each other twice, I think. But putting Lucha Brothers in there as well, and Okami, the Hashimoto Kamitani team, that's going to create some really genuinely intriguing matches that I did not see coming this year. Even when they put those the teams together, I figured the split would be more even, so you'd probably have like I'd like to think of Monster Consulting, JFK, and Aussie Open as all European teams.
Yeah.
And Ringkamp and CCK. So it's like you kind of thought the split would be Ringkamp heading up one group, CCK the other, and like an even split of the teams as close as possible under that. And then they've just not done that at all. They've just loaded up Group A, left Group B so that Monster Consulting can kind of shine there almost. And it's a good chance for Aussie Open to show what they can do. Whereas Group A is just going to be wall-to-wall crazy shit.
Well, yeah, it's sort of like the work rate group and the story group almost. Because obviously JFK, really being built up as a scummy heel act. Monster Consulting of their guys right now in the tag division. So it makes sense to sort of clear the way a bit for them to do their thing and build on the story they've been telling for the last few months, and sort of clear the landing for the other teams to just have killer matches with each other outside of any story. And yeah, it's 2 great groups. Last year and the year before all delivered really strong matches, and this weekend is starting to match the prestige of 16 Carat. Like, people are seeing it in that same vein of like just a super tournament, which is fun to see for a tag team.
I think that they've definitely loaded this tournament up this year, and it's not just the tournament; it's the non-tournament stuff as well. It feels like a really stacked 4 nights of wrestling, and I'm including Inner Circle in that. I think they've done a marvelous job of putting this together. Normally at Tag League, it feels like you get like a solid introductory first night, and then it gradually builds, and then you get the crescendo on night 3. I can see all 3 of these Tag League nights being strong because of how stacked they are.
They've absolutely loaded up the non-tournament matches, as you say. Each night has a match they've been building up to for months now.
Yeah.
Night 1 obviously has the Hair versus Hair, Simmons versus Star.
I've never seen a hair match.
You're about to see someone go bold for them and their children and their children's children.
It's something that
3
really I am genuinely excited at the prospect of seeing someone be shaved bald like right in front of me in a wrestling ring. It's exciting stuff.
Well, but both men have a lot of hair in general, so I don't know if not only is the top of the hair going, but also everything else. Are you going to get a chest wax?
No, I think that's going to take too long, quite frankly.
That'd be more humiliating than losing, because hair just grows back, but, getting waxed in front of 1,000 people is...
Yeah, I don't think they've run by these guys that waxing might be involved. I think it's it's just head hair.
But yeah, obviously that's sort of a heated feud that they didn't get to do at Carrot, so this is sort of the make good, and they've done a very good job of extending it through there.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the promos and stuff better than the match that they had, the Last Man Standing match.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the Last Man Standing match either. It was a bit kind of all over the place, but maybe they'll be more focused with this, knowing that there's an actual finish, and obviously knowing that there's a non-finish does kind of kill your I guess your effort level a bit. I mean, I'm just completely guessing here, but if I were a wrestler, I'd probably put out 100% on the blow off rather than the match building up.
Yeah, you don't want to really have something like a Last Man Standing, which used to be called a death match in the Southern States back in the day. So you don't really want something like that, a death match, and have it as a bridging match to something else. It felt like that kind of needed to be the payoff, or they could have just done a no DQ, which I'd have been fine with, and had that in doing it like a double count out or something. Doing it as a Last Man Standing kind of implied, only one winner, and then to have that as a draw was a bit disappointing.
Yeah, using gimmicks to get to other gimmicks is not the best move ever, but they've got here, and it is a very interesting match to presumably main event night 1 with, and
I assume so.
They've got the same kind of rivalries on night 2 and 3 as well. On night 3, they've got Tarkan Aslan versus Lucky Kid, which probably isn't going to be the most spectacular wrestling match, but it's going to be emotional, I'd say.
Well, Tarkan is not a particularly good wrestler, but he is a very good storyteller.
Yeah.
So they can have a very different match there. I think putting it on night 3 is ideal because you don't really want that to main event a show. No, really, it's not.
It will be the antithesis to the the all out amazing match main event that they'll go for. This will be the grudge death match, but where they're just gonna brawl around the ring and kill each other. And I'm all in for it because they've been telling the story brilliantly. Obviously, the wacky ninja patch was incredible, and all of Aslan's promos since then have been excellent.
I've enjoyed I'm kind of confused if this is going to go one way or the other, because the shotgun title match you've got Al-Ani is defending on night 2.
Yeah.
So he's defending against the winner of a 4-way match, which Lucky Kid is one of the participants. You've also got Fred Yehai, Emil Satochi, and Julian Pace as the other 3 guys in that 4-way. They're all baby faces. Tarkan Aslan has approached each of the other guys separately, Yehai, Satochi, and Pace, to try and get them to help in ensuring that Lucky Kid doesn't win, to get that shotgun title match on night 2, because they just don't want him to be in there. So it's going to go one way or the other. You're either having Lucky Kid winning and getting into that match, or somebody's turning. And I can't see it being Satochi because he's not been babyface for very long, so that does leave a couple of interesting opportunities there.
Yeah, I guess the only problem with someone turning is that they've then got to face heel Al-Ani on night 2, so potentially someone turning and Lucky Kid still winning. I could see happening.
Yeah, it's hard to see where they're going to go with that, but then that's part of the intrigue.
Definitely.
Ideally, you think Lucky Kid would win that match and be in that match with Al-Ani because that's what they've been building to, but not necessarily. Something else might happen.
Yeah, because they haven't really, obviously with a lot of the teams being international teams, they haven't been able to build up the actual tag league on the shotgun very much, so they've really focused their efforts on building up the shotgun feud and Tarkan Aslan Lucky Kid, and so it does add a lot of value to those matches outside of the tournament, as you say. Definitely more than ever, they've focused on doing that, and it makes these cards a lot more well-rounded than we've seen in the past. So
well,
we're going to
the tournament stuff was always going to be good anyway. So it's just adding an extra layer to stuff by giving so much background and so much reason to care about the other matches they've got going on. And there's no more so than for the WXW Unified World Wrestling title match with Absolute Andy, Bobby Guns, and Ilya Dragunov. The promos that all three men have been doing to build to this have been amazing. But if you haven't seen it, WXW put up on their Twitter the Absolute Andy promo from Shotgun this week. It's one of the best promos I've seen this year. It was stunning. I think you know the one I'm talking about.
Andy's crushing it as the man in WXW right now. Like, he wasn't quite Ric Flair levels here, but he was certainly getting up there in terms of just that heel presence, that heel champion clinging on to what he wants, and he truly believes that he is the best, even though he knows that he isn't the most athletically gifted. It's truly great stuff, and both of his promos on last week's Shotgun were great. Obviously, they uploaded the more cinematic one, but sort of the more, well, you know something, Mean Gene one they did earlier was great too.
Yeah, the comedy one was very good, with him saying it wasn't him, it was a guy that looked like him wearing his jacket.
Well, that's what Andy can do. He can do the comedy, but he can also turn it on serious when he needs to and come across as a real threat. So certainly Andy's really anchored this match in this title scene, and they've played an absolute blinder with him this year.
Yeah, he's kind of come out of nowhere, because like we were talking about this for the Euro draft. We always kind of rated him, but he was kind of hidden away in the tag division there, and you didn't really see him as being the guy that's going to break out and have like a big singles year like 12 months ago. It didn't look like it was going to happen. And then the turn at Tag League last year and everything that he's done since has just been so perfect.
And it's almost sort of made Ilya Dragunov obsolete. Like, obviously he's sort of their babyface star, but he doesn't need to be, all-encompassing everything about WXW, because Andy's doing that.
I'll tell you what, though, it's taken the pressure off Dragunov.
Absolutely.
Like, he doesn't have to go out there and be this blow-away great wrestler every night like he was trying to do when he first won the title, and he got injured. Not big injuries, but a couple of minor injuries after Carrot. Having Andy just take the pressure off him has just allowed him to go back to what he's really good at, which is those intense promos, those intense matches where he doesn't need to carry the company on his back. And it's made him a bigger star for it. Maybe not so much in Germany, but the fact that he's out at Wembley against Pete Dunne in one of their marquee matches for like the big Progress show. The fact that he's been over for Bowler for PWG and blew that crowd away with his effort and his ability. It's been a great year for him, but in WXW it's been all about Andy, and that's allowed him to do that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's funny that as we say, Ilya's doing all these international excursions. He's obviously going to have probably the most interesting match tonight at Wembley as we record, and obviously he got all rave reviews against Shingo and Ringkampf at PWG. But despite all of that, he is a storytelling wrestler first and foremost. Like, he's not even though he's very good at it, his best thing isn't these crazy work rate matches. It's just the intensity and the emotion, and obviously they're playing off of his family and Andy saying Constantine in the promos you can't understand until they subtitle them on Shotgun. But those matches were really interesting, and not because of anyone's particular blow away wrestling ability, but just because these characters are so engaging. And there was a worry there that maybe they were going to jump the shark with Ilya a little bit, but as you say, they've been allowed to take the pressure off of him and sort of ease back and be what he is excellent at with Andy, and it's created some good stuff. And then we push in Bobby Guns into the mix as well.
Yeah, Bobby is almost getting overwhelmed here because he's getting in there with these two enormous characters, and it's almost a tough spot for him, which when he won Shortcut to the Top, I was like, well, this is him made because of the reactions from the crowd. But like, you see him in this match, and I think he's got the hardest job here because he's probably the least showy when it comes to actual matches, his strengths tend to be in building his character with promos, which is what the other two are good at as well. But when it comes to the actual matches, like Andy has all manner of hijinks and Dragunov's a nutcase. So Guns is more, grounded mat work. It's going to be tough for him to really stand out in this three-way.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I can't really imagine this match as it is put together. I'm sure they'll come up with something good, but like it being a freeway and being such different styles, it's going to be a challenge certainly to create something anywhere near the level of the freeway at Carrot, which was obviously spellbinding.
Well, that was a lot easier for them to put together because of the nature of all of the three wrestlers involved, and you had that. In Bad Bones, you had like a definitive bad guy who was not going to back down, but like he was going to be the bad guy, but they were all really tough. So that was the basis of it. It was just three guys just beating each other up. And here you've got like Andy's got like cowardice issues. You've got Guns, who I don't know if you call him like a striker at all. Like these strengths lie elsewhere. So it's a very different match, and that they're going to have a challenge, I think, with this one. It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, it's a very challenging match.
Who do you think's winning?
Yeah, I think Andy's probably retaining because he's so good at what he's doing at the moment. I can see that leading to possibly Guns versus Ilya as a feud away from the title, because I think it's probably too soon for Guns. Dragunov, obviously they did that. He won at Carrot and then dropped the belt. So I think that the logical thing to do is to keep it on Andy, have somebody else come through as a challenger. I would love to see Andy and Tim Thatcher as like a multiple show feud. I think he's probably going to get to work with Volta at some point, and eventually they're going to change it probably at Carrot.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. It seems the way they've been building it up on Shotgun as well, that they're sort of not turning Ilya heel, but sort of trying to reduce him down, not de-push him, but just make him question himself a bit more. Like he's been giving in to Andy's tricks a bit more and sort of self-admitting it.
Yeah,
there's the promo that he cut on Shotgun, his version of the Andy cinematic promo, basically. It sort of had a twinge of like doubt. I was almost going to say like, oh, they're just sort of over-egging the pudding on the Dragunov character, but it's because I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, but it did seem like they were saying Dragunov's sort of trying to be what he isn't. He's trying to be Mr. Invincible when he's still questioning that. And that all seems to be what they're playing up to, that maybe they are going to have Guns and Dragunov go at it as the two top faces going up against each other. But that's just the way I read into it. It could be a completely different thing, or it could be unintentional. I don't know, but that's how I saw it.
The thing that WXW are very, very good at is the run-on booking, so getting from like one show to the next, one storyline to the next, and something will happen over the course of this weekend that will change the structure of the cards for like the end of this year and going through to 16 Carat. And I'm not entirely sure which direction they're going to go into, which is what makes it so intriguing. Because like Tag League will change the tag division, but the singles matches that they have going on could just completely change the landscape. But it's until it happens, you just don't know which way they're going. And which is part of the, like with CMJ, I just think he's very good at telling that story where he can get from A to B, but then there's also a C coming up, and then we get to D and E, and eventually, like, it'll make sense, like A to E, and it'll just, everything is one part of one big story that he's had, like, in his back pocket for a year, which, there's not many bookers that can do that.
Jacobean booking, baby.
Yeah, really is.
There was something else I was going to say, but I might have forgotten it now, so I might just move on. Oh yeah, no, I got it. Edit it out, Rob. He isn't going to edit it out now. No,
of course not. Shouldn't.
But it's that WXW sort of had a hard time resetting after Carrot. Obviously with Bad Bones leaving in circumspect circumstances. That definitely hurt them, but their momentum seemed to fall down a bit in May, June after Superstars of Wrestling. They didn't seem like they had a lot on deck.
I think the problem they had there was that Rise was supposed to be a much bigger part of the show, and it really isn't. And I think they've almost got a bit lost with Bouncer and Kiev are kind of just in the background now, whereas Bouncer was supposed to be like coming to the forefront, and he just isn't. Yeah, and that's basically because Damat got injured as well, so that was the issue.
It was a very unfortunate turn of events there. But since the summer break, they came out guns blazing, leading into Shortcut to the Top, and everything since then has just been really, really intriguing. They've done a great job of building to this weekend in terms of storyline. Obviously, they've got all these great matches that we're going to be talking about, but I mean, the week-to-week Shotgun stuff has been just as good as it was back in February and January. Like, they've gotten back there.
It's not even
that intrigue.
It's just the storytelling, because the storytelling on Shotgun has always been a major highlight, and the character building that they do on there, teaching young guys how to cut promos and do like proper TV work, that's always been good. But what's been good recently is the standard of the professional wrestling that's been on display. Like, the matches have gone from being like 2.5 star throwaways to like up 3.5, 3 3/4, like really genuinely good matches that they've been putting on this TV show.
Yeah, definitely. The Shotgun matches, you did sometimes think, I'll just skip over this because I just want to get to the bits. But yeah, I think since they've done more of these batch cap shows and done like the full tapings, they have thought about the matches a bit more. And yeah, they're definitely working out for me. I mean, there hasn't been any like match of the year contenders or anything, but they're strong matches that always seem to have a point in the story. So definitely thumbs up in terms of that. Shotgun is definitely more watchable than ever before because of those matches they're adding into all the story elements, as you say.
Yeah, I do know people who have in the past just skipped over the matches because there was really nothing stand out there. But
me included, as recently as I say, January and February.
Yeah. But the standard is so much better now. And we've said this like throughout this year. We had WXW as our promotion of the year for 2017 for Europe. But the standard of the quality of the wrestling on all of their shows has gone up since then. And it's not just a promotion that peaks twice a year. It's now a promotion that just stays there, like stays on a wonderful high all the time. Most of their big events this year have been very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, it's very good to see the hard work paying off, I guess, that they've sort of addressed what they knew were problems. And, there's still issues with Shotgun and some of the shows, but in general, it's probably the most complete product we have right now, and I guess that's why we sound so invested when we're talking about it.
Yeah, and like so the last like 3 big shows they've done, Shortcut to the Top, the 2 fan appreciation nights, Hamburg and Oberhausen. I thought all of those shows were very good. I'm trying to think which one I preferred, whether it was Shortcut. I guess probably the Shortcut, I think, for the booking was slightly better, but I thought the fan appreciation in Hamburg is one of the best non-carrot shows I've ever seen them do, with Andy and Sabre on top.
Yeah.
Ringkampf against Unbesiegt Star just underneath, which honestly, that match was so good. Such a good match. Doug and Weitmuller on that show was really good. Bobby Guns and Mario Salani that went to the count out with Alani chickening out. The women's match was really good, but it was only like 6 minutes long. Monster Consultant JFK was really good, and Brooks and Yeho was really good. So it's like literally, it's like a show where there was no bad matches, and the high end stuff, like the last 2, and say Guns and Alani, all like, I would say like 4 stars or higher, which, like, to have that on a show that is not one of their major shows, that shows where their standard is at right now, which it's great, honestly.
Right, I've seen Guns and Al wrestle about 1,000,000 times this year, but each match is still very good.
Yeah. Yeah, the standard's always very high for them.
They've definitely been bringing it. Obviously, including the World Tag Team League stuff and these big blow-off matches, they've also got a very strong presence of women's matches on these shows. And obviously Femme Fatales. And yeah, just kind of very under the radar, they've put together some women's dreams matches.
The thing is, like, the amount of talent they've got there for Femme Fatales, like, it gets better every single year.
Yeah.
Why not use that on the other nights? And they've got, Inner Circle, they've got Lufisto and Chris Wolf. They've got Mako and Tony Storm just randomly on night one of Tag League. Just, here's like two of the best women's wrestlers in the world. Let's just put them together. And they've got Tony Storm and Vesna on night 2 and Vesna and Lufisto on night 3.
And Satomura versus Vesna and Femme Fatales. So,
yeah.
They know who we want to see.
And there's some genuine quality in this field. It's I would say the worst wrestler that is competing in Femme Fatales this year is Audrey Bride, who I think is really good.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom rung. And then you've got 7 wrestlers that are varying degrees better than her, which that is a phenomenal standard for women's wrestling. I think they might have actually put on the best field for a women's tournament I've seen. I can't even remember there being a women's tournament, certainly not in Europe, that had that depth. That's very, very impressive.
That's going to be a very fun show. And yeah, again, just like with World Tag League and Carrot, this is sort of, they're building this up to the same level as Ambition, which we sort of whisper in hushed tones as like, one of the special shows of the year. And now with this kind of lineup that they've got with Lufisto versus Tony Storm, Audrey Bride versus Millie McKenzie, Killer Kelly versus Chris Wolf, and Satomura versus Vesna, which is obviously the big first round clash, and then semi-finals and finals. You're going to get some real top quality there. And, like, even if some of the matches don't deliver, they're going to be fun at the very least. Like, all of those women are, like, tippy-top performers who can wrestle on that big stage. So that'll be a really exciting show.
Like, as a show, Femme Fatales has always been, like, one of these little side attractions during Tag League weekend. But this year, the standard is just way better than it ever has been.
Yeah, obviously not all the matches will get time, and maybe that's the one thing I worry about those big matches like Satomura Storm on the main shows as well, is that they're competing for time against some very big matches elsewhere on the card. But yeah, it's just going to be special to see that, and even if not all of the matches deliver, and they're probably not all going to deliver to the amount we're hyping them up,
but some will.
So there's going to be some gems in there, definitely.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited about Tag League. I think so we're going to be there for like 4 days. Oh, well, you're not going, are you? I'm sorry, Ollie.
Hey, I'm going to go see Fight Club Pro in Japan. It's easier to get back from than Wolverhampton.
But anyway, 5 shows over 4 days, and I think they're all going to be great. I'm just looking at Inner Circle, and even on Inner Circle, you've got Akami wrestling JFK, Tim Thatcher and Fred Yehide. That is such a great Inner Circle match. Like, putting together 2 guys who are very technically sound. They're going to do strikes that are just going to deafen you in that building.
Yeah, that's the Inner Circle match that we'll talk about for ages, just like Paul London and Absolute Andy.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the whole thing's going to be like a great weekend.
Yeah, I'm very excited for you and Rob. And you're going to deliver some top content, I'm sure.
Absolutely banging top-level content, smoking hot.
And in the meantime, I'll find a willing victim to review the Wembley show with me.
I'm sure you can find someone.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Someone of BritWres fandom who isn't in Germany that weekend. That'll be fun. So yeah, that's kind of our WXW rundown.
Hey, excuse me, can I park here?
Let's see, North Avenue Science. Here we go. Fridays between 3 and 7, 15 minutes. I think you're good.
Oh, good. I'm just going to the AT&T store. There's a deal that's Chicago only. I'll run in and run out.
You didn't take the red line?
Hey, excuse me, are you gonna park here?
He's going to the AT&T store. They got a deal just for Chicago.
You didn't take the red line?
Hey, Chicago, come into an AT&T store and find out how to get home internet on us. AT&T, more for your bargain hunter thing. That's our thing. Limited Chicago offer. See store for details.
And I believe now we have questions that you lovely people have been sending in.
Yeah, because there was no big show to review, I basically just asked the timeline, like, what do you want us to talk about? So here's what we got. Jamesy, at Jamesy_2015, where are you all in terms of Euro Match of the Year and Rest of the Year candidates at this point? So I've made a few notes. I wrote down 7 matches that I think have been the best in Europe this year. Volta is in 6 of them. So that's your Wrestler of the Year question sorted. The matches in question, just in case you're wondering, Volta against Tim Thatcher from Progress in January. Carrot Night Team main of Ilya, Bones and Volta. Mm-hmm. Volta and Sabre from Progress. Ilya and Volta from True Colours. The other Ilya Volta match from Superstars of Wrestling where Volta didn't do a chop. That match is incredible. Like, that might actually be my match of the year. Osprey and Riddle from Scrapomania, and Volta and Devlin from WrestleRama, so a couple from OTT.
Yeah, again, the 3 matches that jumped out to me were all Walter matches. The aforementioned Triple Threat, Bones, Walter, and Ilya. I mean, I don't think anything's going to top that because the atmosphere was just ridiculous. The WrestleMania-esque entrances, being in the Irish contingent and everyone's minds melting for Ilya, and Kilby destroying his knees, and everyone crying and hugging was, a special time indeed. So I can't really look past that, but obviously Walter versus Devlin, another very special match for different reasons. In OTT, and that story is yet to be finished. Walter versus Mark Davis in Progress. That's my Progress match of the year, no doubt. I can't.
Oh, surely the Thatcher one's better than that.
No.
He chopped him in the face.
The forehead. Is the forehead part of the face? That's my question.
Yes, it is.
Okay. But yeah, just like Rob, I went goo over the Davis-Walter match, and I can't believe they're not redoing that at any point. Thinking of non-Walter matches, the tag match from Strong Style Evolved in Milton Keynes, Suzuki and Sabre versus Okada and Ishii, that was pretty special for me, just the charisma explosion, hearing the Okada and Suzuki new themes for the very first time, the balloons, which we all thought we had imagined, eating pizza with Rob and Mike Kilby on our private BritWres balcony. That was very special as well. Maybe not the best in-ring match ever, but just the atmosphere for that in the private skybox was electric. Bobby Guns versus Mike Bailey, and also Mike Bailey versus Bad Bones from earlier in the year in WXW. Both very strong matches. And obviously, even though I didn't see it live because of the angle we were at, but Bobby Guns bending Bailey's fingers back, and like, not even his fingers, his whole hand just completely back on itself, was excellent.
That was sickening. Absolutely sickening.
Can't think of anything else off the top of my head. We've still got World Tag Team League to go.
Oh yeah, well, we've still got like 3 months left.
Oh, so. Of course, from Carrot, Timothy Thatcher versus Lucky Kid. I was there.
Yeah, that was very good.
All the way for that match. That was tremendous. I remember the position I was in. I was like, I had my hands on my knees, sort of like crouched for the whole last 5 minutes, just like wondering where the hell the finish was going to come from and buying on every single thing.
Yeah, so there's some matches to go and watch.
Those are some matches. Some non-Walter matches for variance's sake, but of course, Walter has been in everything brilliant and amazing.
Yeah, he's been the standout by some distance. So, moving on. Scott, who we know from Warpod, Scott underscore 1878. His question reads, WrestleGate Pro.
Well, I believe we made the call for questions on the same day as WrestleGate Professional Wrestling announced their logo.
Oh, this very strange. It's, I think it's Gary Ward, the Southside
yes.
guy. Yeah, he started a promotion with a really odd name.
Yeah.
And they're going to be running shows if they get enough retweets. I don't really understand.
It's a strange business model.
Yeah.
Retweets for shows.
Yeah. I presume they'll run at some point.
Yeah. We'll possibly keep like half an eye on it. Maybe.
But squint. Okay, Matt underscore M Yano. He wants to talk about how all wrestling fans are geeks.
Well, they are. So,
Yeah.
obviously love Matt Yano. He's not a geek. And if you're listening to
He
this, you're
is.
not a geek either.
He is a complete geek. Just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Gary on Graps wants a State of the Eurograps Union.
Well, I think you're going to get that on the Saturday night after party. Obviously, I won't be there representing the Oliver Court brand, but Rob and Arn, and if you're in the know, you're in the know. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, meetings will be had. Things will be discussed.
Yes, I'm sure there'll be a pic of you lot hiding behind the big black curtains and discussing various things with Avalanche probably, and that'll be very fun. And I look forward to hearing about Mike Kilby's shattered knees.
He always does that for that Ilya entrance thing, and like he punches the ground as well. And I'm like, watch Ilya's entrance. He doesn't actually punch the ground.
He pulls his punches.
Yeah.
Even that man is smart enough not to just break his wrists.
At MKNHNR, what's his name? Is it Carl? I think his name's Carl. He also wanted to talk about WrestleGate Pro. He doesn't want us to talk about Progress, so that's fine. We haven't. And third question, Scarf or High Vis?
Scarf or High Vis?
Yeah, I must have missed something on the Twitter. Scarf, I guess?
Is that like Timothy Thatcher putting his scarf around his face for... Oh no, because he doesn't want to talk us about Progress, and so he won't want to hear about Calamari Thatch Kings. I don't understand that question.
No, okay. Ian Hamilton asks, are some promotions spoiling us with booking and others making others look bad in comparison, naming no names? Would that involve breaking the last question? Possibly. I don't. I'm basically saying that WXW's booking has been like exceptional this year and Progress's is not. Which,
yes, which I would
to be honest
agree
with you, I'll tell you what, the difference between the two, and I think it's a much smaller difference than people realise. I think Progress has not dealt well with injuries. Their plan B has not been as good as their plan A. WXW's plan B has come through. When they've needed to adapt, They've adapted better. So, I think if everything went according to plan in both promotions, I think we'd have seen a lot of really good wrestling this year. But yeah, it doesn't always go according to plan.
Well, with the Progress booking, you can see the working. So it's they've definitely put in effort to do it, but stuff like obviously the Thunder Bastard tag series was kind of losing the plot a bit. They were obviously unfortunate with Ospreay and Sabre, but they eventually got back to title bait anyway. Although I gotta say, they could have done better hyping that match than they have. It really just feels like just a match, even though it's purportedly the main event. But obviously the booking isn't just all around Wembley. There has been some other good stuff. Obviously Walter as Atlas champ was a very exciting run.
I think we always feel that Progress kind of goes off the rails when they've got a big show to plan towards, and it's just...
And they didn't actually go off the rails this time. It just... I don't know if the rails were just a bit too predictable, or again just unlucky, or just you could see the effort but not the execution. yeah, it hasn't quite come together for me for Wembley. Apart from Don Dragonov, which is exciting. But in general, yeah, I mean, they've obviously appealed to the people they appeal to, and maybe we slipped the net a bit, but other people didn't.
I know. Well, I've watched
David
every show,
O'Neill,
and
for example.
oh yeah, he loves progress. I had to block him. Sorry. Anyway, moving
Sorry,
on. At Gordon JB wants us to talk about 1PW. Well, you can just go and buy the book that I wrote about it, mate. Save yourself some time. At RBX 2000, if Absolute Andy is the king of dads, does that make me more or less of a disappointment to him than my actual father? I guess about the same. He also had a question about, on a more serious note, given the relatively poor performance of the Scottish scene in the Euro draft, could you take some time to look at things and why the place that arguably led the way in the BritWres revival has fallen so far behind? Yeah, well, the problem that the Scottish scene has got is that ICW is by far and away the largest promotion, and they are still shite. Until another promotion comes along and does a really good job of booking the talent that's up there, I don't think it's going to get exposed the way it should. There are other promotions up there, but at the moment there's nothing that's really standing out so much as to grab my attention. Discovery, I think, have been doing some decent work, but is it any better than what like the bigger British promotions are doing or WXW are doing? It's just not really anywhere near as good. So yeah, until a promotion comes up and uses that talent, I don't think we're going to see the best of it.
Yeah, they're crying out for a buzzworthy promotion away from the monolith that is ICW, because anyone wrestling in ICW is going to get swept up in the bullshit. It's just inevitable. The way they book that will never change. It's always going to be 1997, and it's you know what you're getting. And I think even the fans of that are starting to get tired of that. Like, you just do not hear the same kind of buzz for ICW now. And obviously, we tried watching it.
I tried for a year.
It's over. The experiment has failed for us, and we're never going to be doing ICW again. And every time I have seen it since that one show we really enjoyed, it has been quite dire. So
crushing disappointment. Booking is awful. There are positives. I think they have one of the best ring announcers in the business.
Yeah.
Simon Cassidy.
Elements of their presentation are really strong. Definitely.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of the commentary. I think the commentary is really good. The officials are very good. Like, everything apart from the storylines is good. There is some talent up there.
The stage talent is really good, but everything that plays out upon it is disastrous.
Yeah, it's kind of like an even worse version of WWE.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it has its audience, but that audience is slimming. And I'd say that the window is definitely open for another promotion that goes the other way and produces something completely different to ICW, but with
coherent
talent available, something coherent, coherent wrestling. There's definitely the window open for that. So the Scottish scene can still be reclaimed, and we can probably talk about a Scottish show in the future. But in its current guise, it's a non-starter for us.
Yeah, I'll be keeping my eyes and ears open, but like I said, ICW is a very tough watch. I still watch the odd match from there, but not a lot. Okay, next question. At No More Mutants, Scarlet Witch, what wrestler do you think cooks the best Christmas dinner?
I hadn't thought of an answer for this one.
Are we limited to British wrestlers?
Bushi?
I definitely think Hiromu Takahashi would be very good.
Cook an interesting Christmas dinner. Hiromu and Bushi cooking Christmas dinner would be interesting, because
big LIJ dinner.
They'd come up with great presentation. They'd come up with wacky flavors. There'd be some green mist in there somewhere. You'd get to eat it with a Daryl on your lap. I think that'd be lovely. An LIJ Christmas dinner.
I also think Shah Samuels knows his way around a kitchen.
Oh yeah, well yeah. If you're talking practically, yeah, you'd get your cut of meat from him.
Yeah, definitely Shah Samuels, I think, for me. Next question. At Ant Smashcast. Ant, I've known him for years. He's asking about World of Sport. What the fuck was that all about?
Oh, God. How much World of Sport did you see, Alan, by the way? We haven't really talked about it much.
Well, I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I cherry-picked a few matches from other shows, because I just couldn't sit through the presentation.
Exactly the same here. I mean... I am 22 years old and I cannot keep up with that editing. I don't think a 7-year-old who's just eaten a tin of gummy bears could keep up with that either.
Well, there are reasons for this. Have you heard about the legal reasons for everything?
Oh, but they can't show anyone kicking anyone else in the head or whatever. Yeah,
in case it's replicated by
that's
children at home, and because of the time slot, that's what they were allowed to do, and that was it. Every show that they edited together, they had to run past a legal team. So, I can't imagine running a promotion like that, thinking through these matches and thinking, I can't really have the guy do a big flip to the outside because he's going to get to the ropes and we're going to cut to somebody in the back row looking bored. I don't know. I don't know what the whole point of it was, really. ITV apparently were reasonably happy with it to begin with, but then they moved it around in the time slots. So
it was on at 2 p.m. this week, I think, which is, that's nowhere near any sort of slot you want to be on if you want to be getting
really not
taken seriously at all.
So yeah, that's what the fuck it was all about, and the reason why Wade Barrett was basically in every segment is because they paid him more money than anyone else and they wanted to get their money's worth. Yeah, that's it.
It was always going to be what it was, it was always going to be kiddie tea time filler. And it had its moments. It's still got 2 more episodes to go, and probably it's going to get renewed because someone in ITV brass absolutely loves wrestling for some reason, even though it's getting no ratings. But yeah, it's obviously not designed to appeal to us at all, and it's probably a shame because it means that no big TV company is ever gonna gamble on wrestling ever again.
It's hard to say. If they get a better relationship together for a second series, the one thing that I feel like they really failed on was they didn't introduce the characters properly.
Oh, absolutely. Especially on ITV, where they do all the sob stories and all the puff piece.
Just do
reality shows.
An interview with the wrestler before the match, just saying, "Hi, I'm Justin Sizem. I played Hawkeye in the Marvel thing, hey, hi, how you doing? I'm from Rochdale or wherever he's from."
Yeah, it is crazy that an ITV property can feel so ITV and yet not capitalise on the thing that ITV are good at.
really was, yeah. So that was, to me, that was the most disappointing thing, that they didn't introduce people properly, so they didn't give us a reason to care. Mm-hmm. Even us, knowing who all the wrestlers are, it's still baffling that they just didn't seem to want to introduce them to other people. At Wrasslin Ratings, wrestling as in RASSLIN. He wants to know, more people need to watch Sabre A Kid from Spain, Osprey Dunn from Italy. It's basically all European wrestling is important thing. There's more to the scene than what we talk about, which I guess is fair. There's only so much time we have to talk about things. There's only so much time we get to watch things. But there's going to be a question coming up asking about other scenes and what's going to break out, so we'll kind of save that for that question. Next up, at Akil Khalid, my good friend Akil. He's got 3 questions for us. Number 1, are all British wrestling promotions cowards for not booking the Great Khali?
Well, absolutely, because that would be a hell of a draw, and you'd have people coming out the woodwork to see Khali. I mean, I was 10 or 11 when Khali was getting his big push. He couldn't fucking get people to shut up about Batista versus Great Khali at my school, and you know, this was when wrestling was like deemed not cool, and yet people were still talking about it because it's just like a freak show thing, and that, you know, at that age you don't really understand it. So, you know, you'd get a big audience and not like a traditional wrestling audience as well. You'd get those people when they watched SmackDown when they were 10, thinking like it would be a laugh to come watch Great Khali just chop some people or whatever.
Well, there's just nobody like him, is there? So it's like, even if you just kind of wheeled him out for the sideshow attraction of it, I think he'd be fine. Like, I don't know. I assume he'd be very expensive, which is why this has not happened anywhere.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm
Akil
not sure
would
how much he
presumably
works.
give all his money to go and see it, so he'd make it all back on just.
All of it, yeah. He'd buy all the merch. There's more questions from Akil. Question 2: progress equals trash? Question mark. I think that's harsh.
I mean, I'll always appreciate the exchange when Galazzo Dan jokingly wrote progress equals trash, and Jim Smallman said, "What the fuck, mate?"
Yeah,
that is a classic BritWres moment, and will be etched into all our memories forever. So
that's a
progress
major...
equals trash ! Exclamation mark is my response to that question.
Yeah, another outstanding Galazzo Dan tweet. He's the best of us on the Twitter machine. Question 3: Big Grizzly, all caps.
Well, he was one of the reasons why he won the Euro draft. So well done.
To be honest,
again,
given the ratio of Big Grizzly drafted to wins, he should go in the first round next year.
The stats suggest so, if we're going to do sabermetrics on this.
He is a massive draw with the voting public.
Yeah. he's a Eurodraft Hall of Famer, certainly, at this point.
And it kind of makes you wonder why he's not getting booked in more places, because he's got a really good look.
People apparently love him, yeah.
He's
at least among our little clique, yeah.
He's a very, very decent professional wrestler, and I wouldn't have drafted him if he wasn't good. I'm not just going to draft people for the sake of this will get me votes, ha ha ha, which I did last year with Big T. but yeah, he is a really good wrestler.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That's a genuine Big Grizzly, all caps, question. Moving on, we've got Andrew Sinclair asked, where's the love for ICW? But I think we've kind of covered that. And Tim, at Tim _dog _ he's got a question about TK Cooper. What does TK Cooper have to do once again to become a big star?
He's got to trust the process of the three friends. No. Well, first of all, and even I think it was the Indie Corner podcast that said this, but ditch that bloody escape the mid-card gimmick. What are you doing, man? You're devaluing yourself. You were the biggest star in BritWres a year ago. You came back to a standing ovation. You ran down with Dahlia Black, fended off CCK with the chairs. It was huge. It was amazing. And now you're on the pre-show Battle Royal.
A big part of it is it wasn't him coming back, it was them coming back.
Yeah.
Dahlia Black, for whatever reason,
the power trip.
Yeah, she's decided to not do wrestling anymore. I think she works in a wine bar.
Yeah.
And I
Very
really
sensible of her.
I think he really misses her. That was a key part of his gimmick.
Absolutely,
it was a key part of his how he got over. And yeah, he was a really good professional wrestler as well. The stuff he was doing in the tag team with Trav helped get him over, but he got over in the first place by being Dahlia Black's boyfriend. That's what got him over.
I want the heady days of that match with Ringkampf back again.
That was good stuff.
when I was young and there were so many possibilities, and TK Cooper was going to conquer BritWres.
But there's two things he can do. One is he needs to find a connection to somebody else in professional wrestling. To be honest, the thing he's doing with Chuck Mambo is not a bad idea, because that gives them like a connection that you can relate to. So if they started doing a story together, whether it's a feud or a tag team, I would buy into it. And the other thing,
also run away from Progress, because they've booked him into oblivion, and he'll never ever be seen as a threat again there. Like, it's Mikey Whiplash syndrome. Like, there's only so much bad booking you can go through before it's just like, you just come out to laughs instead of applause or anything.
Well, there's only so many places you can work, so I can understand him wanting to take those bookings.
No, obviously I understand Progress is the big place, and it's obviously where he came up from, where he started in Britain, but it's just not, it's not the place where he needs to be right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well.
He needs to expand out and just do something else, anything else than what he's doing right now, because it's not working.
A third thing is, I think he just needs a makeover. The dungarees.
Yeah, the dungarees, and they served their purpose again when he was with Dahlia. It's a bit like Roman Reigns still wearing the the protective armor. Like it's an old gimmick. It's a dead gimmick.
I think my beef with TK coming out dressed like that is it makes me think he has a bad physique.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's he's a built boy.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like he comes out dressed that way, and I'm thinking he's dressed that way because he hasn't done any sit-ups this week, and he's just like he's got a gut hanging over his waist. I can't tell because he's wearing dungarees. But like, is that the problem? Like, does he have a physique issue? I don't know. But like, yeah, I think he needs a makeover. He needs to make a connection with somebody else on the scene that he hasn't made already. And he needs to get away from Progress. So there you go. That's what he needs to do. Cool. Second question from Tim. This is a really good one. What country do you see breaking out as a wrestling hotbed next, and why? And he said besides Spain, because I was immediately going to go Spain, because White Wolf. The crowd in Spain is just amazing. I kind of want to go and see a White Wolf show.
Yeah, I love it because their fandom is entirely based on like modern indie wrestling, which is awesome. Like it's the first sort of fan base with completely like no history before it, so it's brand new. It feels fresh, and like they're obviously doing progress in Spain basically with what White Wolf Wrestling is, although the shows are free, which is it's not really a business model. It's just I don't even know what's going on there. They're just doing it because they want to do it, which is amazing.
There's a lot of guys who just really into wrestling.
They've seen Will Ospreay. They want to do what he does, and they're doing it, and it's really cool, and they're having great matches. So what they're doing there is pretty special right now, and it will certainly get bigger in 2019 as more people see it. Like we've already seen more murmurings about it this year, but yeah,
it's going on WXW now as part of their expansion. They're offering 9 more wrestling promotions.
And I'd say that's the big ticket promotion of those promotions. Yeah, definitely will be exciting to see more of them. I'm always on WXW now. Like WXW now always has like the conversations and stuff. I've always got it playing every few days. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking out that, and hopefully we'll get to talk about it next year. But yeah, we're told not Spain. We're
not Spain, so Spain. We talked about Spain.
Hungary.
I was going to say Hungary. That's literally, I wish I could screenshot this and just send it straight to you now, but I literally have Hungary written down.
Yeah.
Because of the talent that's coming out of there. You've got Audrey Bride, who is in WXW. You've got Icarus and Dover, who are in WXW as well. And the scene is a little bit more deeper than that. I've watched like bits of Hungarian shows, and there is talent there.
Yeah, well, there was that big show with like MVP on it, which Mike was considering going to, which was I think we should organise a trip to Budapest.
Imagine that.
And go watch MVP versus Icarus or something.
I would totally be on board for that. Another country that I think has a shot at a scene but is struggling to get there is Italy. You always hear about these Italian tours that guys go on, like Damon Moser and William Eva went and wrestled in Italy for like a couple of weeks. There is potential there, and it's just not there yet. But yeah, that's another place where I could see stuff exploding. Whereas like you look at France, for example, and France has no scene.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. I've watched one French show, and it was from a social club, and there were about 40 people there, and it was god awful.
Yeah, it's funny how Germany just has the big infrastructure of wrestling, and now those other countries are starting to catch up a little bit. Obviously, still very much in their infancies, but yeah. And then you got France, which is just they're too busy eating cheese and surrendering.
I think they just thumb their nose up at it. It's not really for them.
Yeah, it's not high culture. It's not. It's not Le Louvre.
No.
I assume all French people just go to Le Louvre every weekend.
Wankers. I just like to point out that we are actually kidding there, because I have at least one friend from France. I don't want to.
Chris Taylor, the most well-dressed man. He doesn't go by Chris Taylor anymore, but the guy we met at Carrot, who wrote that article for Voices of Wrestling about Okada's long boys, is from France, and so he might single-handedly.
Two people I know from France.
So maybe there is a scene coming through there.
It's not there yet.
No,
but,
no.
Yeah. And a third question from
two talents.
A third question from Tim. Why didn't you draft my girl Martina? Well, Oli did last year, and we mocked him for it, so that's why.
The incessant mockery was enough to draw me off forever. But fear not, because she'll have a chance to redeem herself at Tag League, at Femme Fatale, going against Melanie Gray. So, we'll see if we overlooked her or not in that match.
Well, I've seen her wrestle, since the draft, and yeah, I don't think we're really missing that much. Look, the gimmick's fine. It's always been fine. Just the work needs to improve. So, yeah.
Also, she has a katakana name on Twitter.
Oh, what?
Because she went to Japan on. So you got to spell your name Japanese-like.
Oh, I get you now. Yeah. Yeah. She's in Odo Tai, which is bizarre to me because she just does not fit into that group at all. Yeah, that's all I got from the mailbag there. Thank you everyone on Twitter who submitted a question. That was very entertaining.
Yeah, that was very enjoyable. I had a proper laugh with all my friends through the internet, and that's what this podcast is for.
That was like half an hour. That's half an hour worth of Twitter questions. Yeah. That was good stuff.
So thank you all for that. And when we do one of these next time, make sure you get your questions in via the Twitter machine.
We will literally answer anything, as we've just proved.
There's only a chance that we might make fun of you.
Small chance.
So yeah, anything else you want to talk about, Arn, as you pack your bags and head off to Oberhausen?
I actually need to do that, so no.
And yeah, I will try and wrangle up someone to review Wembley with, as that happens right now.
Yeah, you might actually have to just ring us.
Maybe I will. Via satellite, Arn and Rob.
Yeah, and we'll be like, I don't know, we haven't seen it. It's not on VOD yet.
Yeah.
Although the Wi-Fi in the hotel's too bad to actually watch it, so...
Oh, that's the John Briley excuse. You can't use that.
Well, I'm not uploading anything. I just can't even watch it because it's the Wi-Fi's that bad. Maybe I can get him to hook it up on a screen somewhere downstairs. I don't know.
Maybe I'll try and call you from the trip lobby, where presumably you, Rob, and whoever else is going to the trip, because the trip is better than the NH, will be hanging out after whatever show it is.
We'll be in that lobby at some point, so just ring the trip and just ask to speak to us.
Ask for Mr. Furious.
Yeah. Okay, that'll do for us. You can follow me on Twitter at @ArnoldFurious. Also, direct questions there for future episodes. And the website that I write for is reviewreviews.com. I also write for Voices of Wrestling, as does Oli. Oli.
Yes, you can follow me at another Oli. I'm actually tweeting things more often now, which is good. Wrestling, Formula 1, and how much I hate Formula 1. And also, listen to my other podcast, Boo.
Don't listen to his other podcast.
Wrestling. No, do.
No,
it's great.
Don't.
It's good stuff.
It's awful. And that'll do it. We'll see you next time. I am two-time Euro Draft champion Arnold Furious. I've been with Ollie Court. Good evening.